What's up, basketball fans? Welcome to the Raptors Report. It's time to talk about the Toronto Raptors because they have made a surprising signing, which not a lot of people saw coming. Now, what does this mean for Jeff Dowtin as the Raptors roster is now full? I'm also going to be taking a look at the Raptors roster and whether or not some moves may be incoming. So if you're ready to watch this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up. And if you wish to hit the subscribe button as well, that would be very much appreciated. So with that being said, let's get into today's video. Now, as you guys know, I do like to give out shout outs on my channel, and the shout out for today's video goes out to Josh Pace. So Josh, thank you so much for supporting this channel through your likes and comments. It is very much appreciated. Now, let's talk about the player that the Raptors have signed, and it was announced shortly a while ago that Adrian Wojnarowski announced that the Toronto Raptors have signed Garrett Temple, has agreed on a 1-year, $3.2 million deal with the Toronto Raptors. Mark Barlstein of Priority Sports tells ESPN, Temple, who has spent the past 2 years with the Pelicans, will be playing in his 14th season. Now, my initial reaction to this signing was, wow, we finally signed someone we actually know, an NBA player, not some random G Leaguer, not some random European, who's 6'8", 6'9". Garrett Temple is an NBA veteran that has been around for quite some time. So I wasn't entirely upset by the signing. I know a lot of people maybe, which I'll get to in just a moment, but Garrett Temple is obviously a veteran. It's 37 years old, so it's not necessarily going to be a player that's going to come in and have a huge impact, but he is someone that we've heard about for quite some time. He's listed at 6'5", and Basketball Reference has him listed as a point guard, shooting guard, and small forward as well, which I find quite interesting. See him play those three positions will be interesting. Now, obviously, a lot of Raptors fans were hoping for, a point guard because it seems like we do need one. I will talk about that later in this video as well. But I want to quickly talk about Garrett Temple. Now, taking a look at his stats here, you'll notice he's had an amazing NBA career where he's played with many teams across the league, and it seems like Toronto Raptors will be added to that list as well. Now, in his previous seasons with the Pelicans, only played about 6.5 minutes, shot an amazing 42% from the three, but he only took one attempt from the three-point line. So again, take that as you will. Field goal percentage was decent. Again, ideally, you want it to be higher for someone that's listed at 6'5". Again, free throws, not that great. 75% is respectable, nothing spectacular. And as you see across the board here, again, nothing too crazy. Now, I know a lot of fans are upset about this signing because, they wanted someone that would be a great signing. And although it's never a bad thing to sign great players to your roster, it is a good reminder that, the Raptors do have a lot of players that will be playing a lot of minutes, but also younger guys that need developmental minutes as well. So again, the signing is what it is, guys. When you take a look at it, it's not supposed to be a groundbreaking signing. The Raptors only had about, I believe, $3 to $4 million to play with. So it wasn't like they were going to make a groundbreaking signing, which would have, blown you off your feet. At the end of the day, look at it this way. When you look at, the Raptors roster and what their 13, 14, 15 man looked like, even 2-3 seasons ago in that Tampa season, we had Paul Watson playing off the bench, and it wasn't really quality players. I'm not saying Garrett Temple is that, but he is a veteran who could guide some of the younger guys. 37 years old. He has clearly been around the NBA for quite some time. Look, it's not a great signing if you're asking me personally speaking, but with $3 million, you can only do so much, right? He's going to be someone that probably doesn't play a lot of minutes. He's probably going to be used as someone that can mentor some of the young guys. I'm sure he has a good reputation around the NBA of being a good locker room guy. And that is probably one of the reasons why the Raptors brought him in. Now, what does this mean for Jeff Dowtin? Because Jeff Dowtin was promised a contract heading into training camp. Well, it wasn't promised because it wasn't guaranteed contract. But, you would think that the Raptors would go their traditional route of having, 2-3 guys battle it out for the last roster spot. It seems like the Raptors aren't doing that. So what does this mean for Jeff Dowtin? Let's discuss that as well. Now, this is a very unfortunate case for Jeff Dowtin. Of course, we know he didn't get playing time last season, and a lot of fans felt like he should have under Nick Nurse. We know all about that. But with the new head coach, a lot of fan bases were optimistic about, some of the playing time, some of the players that we didn't get to see last season. And Jeff Dowtin was one of those players that a lot of Raptors fans were hoping would not only crack the Raptors roster, but would also be able to get minutes under Darko. Now, it is unfortunate with Jeff Dowtin, but I do want to pinpoint to a few things as well. Now, Jeff has been nothing but professional, nothing but respectful, has never complained about anything, has been always supportive of his guys, wasn't causing any locker room issues. And he was with the Raptors throughout this summer, practicing in their facility, still had a Raptors jersey on. It is the unfortunate case of the NBA, though. When you take a look at the Raptors roster, I'm not saying Marquise Noel is that, replacement, but they did sign Javon Freeman-Liberty, and, obviously he is going to be someone that could probably steal Jeff Dowtin's minutes. Again, I know Jeff Dowtin didn't necessarily get those minutes last season, But you can only have so many of those guys sitting on the bench. Like, think about it in this way. Would it be fair to, sign Jeff Dowtin and then not give him minutes? Assuming Scotty's starting, you got Dennis coming off the bench. You need to give Malachi some minutes as well. He's heading into free agency, and you need to see what you got with him. And you got Jawan as well, who I said this off the day this Raptors signed him. He's probably going to be someone that takes his spot, and it looks like he's taking Jeff Dowtin's spot. Now, obviously, here's hoping he actually does get minutes, but it is the unfortunate circumstances of the NBA. When you look at the NBA, and Jeff Dowtin is about to be 27, or I believe he's already 27. Most teams do not invest into guys that don't have a playing career at that age. They're not going to invest 2-3 seasons and knowing that he's probably not going to be in the NBA for much longer. And it's just the way the league has been trending, even when you look at some of the older veterans as well. And I know it's ironic I say this because we did sign Garrett Temple, but some of the guys like Carmelo, those guys in the 10, 20 years ago in the NBA, they probably would have had a good bench role, But in today's NBA, teams want to invest into younger guys. Teams want to invest into guys they think that can have potential in the future. And it is unfortunate with Jeff Dowtin. If this was the 2000s, he would have been a quality backup point guard in, maybe a lottery team. But it is unfortunate for Jeff. He's been nothing but professional, respectful towards the Raptors organization, but seems like he won't be back unless some roster moves get made. So let's take a look at the Raptors roster here. Now, taking a look at the Raptors roster here, like I said, they signed Juwan Freeman Liberty, who I think they could probably steal even Malachi Flynn's minutes, if I'm being completely honest. And I'm a very big Malachi Flynn fan, as you guys know. I think Malachi will have a big season under Darko as well. But even taking a look at some of their roster, obviously they needed some veteran pieces, right? So they need some sort of leadership in the locker room. I'm not saying Garrett is going to be that, but when you have a good group of veteran players, like think back to the Rudy Gay trade, when the Raptors traded him, who did they trade him for? Patrick Patterson, Grievous Vasquez, and John Salmons as well. So if you recall, John Salmons was a great mentor to the young then Kyle Lowry and DeMar DeRozan. So it's not always the flashiest veterans that will have impacts. I think Garrett could, pass on some of the knowledge he has to some of the younger guys. The Raptors clearly do have some younger guys as well. Now, in terms of obviously the Raptors wanting a lot of, maybe a backup guard, you do need to take into account, like I said, you got Scotty probably playing the point guard position. Then you got Dennis coming off the bench. You also need to give Malachi minutes as well. So essentially, like at that point, it wouldn't make sense to have guys like Malachi. And even, I'm big on Javon, but if you were to sign a backup point guard, then it kind of complicates in terms of minutes and who's getting the minutes where. So I think that was ultimately, I love Jeff Dowtin, guys. Don't get me wrong. I loved everything about his professionalism, but there was just not going to be enough minutes to give him anyways. Again, assuming there's no roster spot made. Now, a lot of fans are expecting, maybe a Malachi Flynn move, maybe Thaddeus Young gets moved, maybe Chris Boucher as well to see free up a roster spot. And maybe Jeff Dowtin still makes his way to the Raptors somehow. I will say regarding Malachi Flynn, I don't see them moving him unless they get a good piece back. And I don't think right at the moment Malachi Flynn has any sort of value to acquire anything that would be of, valuable for the Toronto Raptors. In terms of Thaddeus Young, if the Raptors were to get rid of him, they would have waived him at that deadline where, his contract wasn't guaranteed. Only $1 million was guaranteed. So I don't necessarily think they'll trade or move Thad Young yet. Very likely, again, he's an expiring contract. Those kind of contracts are very attractive to a lot of teams, especially with the new CBA rules, which will, allow you to trade expiring contracts, maybe get a second round draft pick back and have someone that maybe has another year left or so. So again, I think the Raptors will make that type of move regarding Thaddeus Young. But look, the Raptors roster is pretty much shaped up, right? I don't expect a Pascal Siakam trade happening as well. I know people may venture into those thoughts and say, well, maybe this means that the Raptors are going to trade Pascal Siakam soon. I don't think that that's necessarily the case. So again, I do want to say, I know a lot of people aren't happy with this because they're kind of confused. What's the point of signing Garrett Temple? Ultimately, he's just a veteran. He's not going to play a lot. He's one of those insurance purposes players that you get. It's better than having those Paul Watsons and any sort of G leaguers at the small forward shooting guard, and seems like he can play the point guard position as well. So it's just it's insurance to have on your bench in case of injuries as well. But I'm curious to hear what you guys think about this. Well, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. And as always, I do have a trivia question for you today. And the trivia question for today is, which team was Garrett Temple drafted by? Was it A, the Wizards? Was it B, the Bulls? Was it C, the Magic? Or was it D, the Pistons? Or is it E, none of the above? So whoever answers this trivia question correctly first in the comment section gets a shout out in my next video. So that will be it for today's video, guys. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you're still watching, make sure to give it a thumbs up. If you wish to hit the subscribe button, that'd be awesome as well. So I wish you guys a great day, a great start to the weekend, not the weekend, a great start to the week. But anyways, that will be it, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys have yourselves a great day.